Hey everybody, welcome to Challenged Athletes Live. My name is Bob Babbitt. Our next guest, Paralympic silver and bronze medalist from the 2016 Paralympics, Mr. Hunter Woodhall. Hunter, how the heck you doing, brother?
Doing great. I was trying to upgrade that title, but now we're on a break from that for a little while.
So how does that affect you? You're all geared up, going to go to the trials up in Minneapolis, and then hopefully go to Tokyo. How has your focus changed?
Yeah, I mean, everything's just kind of been thrown up in the air. And even before that, we were still focused on the NCAA season. So I was actually at indoor national championships less than 24 hours away from competing when everything kind of got, shut down and canceled and postponed in some cases. But it was more just a mental thing of like, this whole base, everything we've done this season is now put on hold and put forth to next season. So it's kind of just having the mental capacity to kind of understand that, although everything is done, like there's still something coming in the next year.
Right.
So it's just preparing for that, I guess.
So how do you communicate with your coach during this when you're both remote?
Yeah, right now, I mean, everything is based on, texts and calls and the same like what we're doing, Zoom calls, just any way we can get that contact. But honestly, like in a time like this, having workouts and doing all these things is really based on you and your determination, the things you're going to do on your own. Because, while we're in season, we have to be at practice every day. There's a coach watching us, and everything is very scheduled out. Whereas now it's kind of just up to you to decide what happens and what you're going to do.
So when you're in high school, and at that point you're ranked number 5 in the country at quarter mile, you're number 1 in the state in the quarter mile. And I remember being down there watching one of your high school meets and winning the 400 and then all this commotion in the infield. And like, what's going on with Hunter? And go over there and a bolt came out of your leg and they're duct taping your leg together and then you win the relay. During that time, obviously you're thinking you're going to run collegiately. Did it surprise you that you weren't getting any offers at all?
I think it came as a shock, and it was just like, for the longest time, it was just me kind of trying to come up with a reason of why I wasn't getting it, and trying to blame it on something else, when in reality, like, we just had to look at the bigger picture of why it was all happening. And luckily we had some people in our backfield that were helping push in the right direction. But, I remember the first day that, we were supposed to be getting calls from colleges, and my friends and teammates were getting the calls, but I didn't get a single one. And it was disheartening and difficult, but, I think in the end, looking back now, like, I'm glad we had to go through that to get there, because now, the experience, being able to be in college, being able to be a part of this team means a whole lot more.
I also think that maybe coaches didn't, a lot of it just lack of education.
Yeah.
Coaches didn't really know if, can this kid run for me? Is it illegal because he's got prosthetic legs?
Yeah.
And when you ran in the Armory in New York, the New York Times wrote about it and wrote that you weren't getting any scholarship offers. All of a sudden, the floodgates sort of opened up, right?
Yeah, there's a lot. And I think, and one of your friends who also helped in the process, Tracy Sunland, had suggested, like, with a lack of education, they don't know how you're going to run indoors. That was another one of the big questions. So that was actually the reason that, I went out to New York for indoor nationals, to compete on the indoor track and just show, like, hey, I am versatile. I can compete able body. I can compete indoors. Like, I'm going to train exactly like all your other athletes. So it was just kind of taking away these reservations and these questions that the coaches and programs had, and trying to make them okay with the decision.
What I loved is when you decided that you're going to go to Arkansas, you basically set it up just like a football player or basketball player, right? Didn't you have the hats laid out, which school you were going to select?
Yeah, absolutely. We had all. I don't remember which one it was. One of the schools, we couldn't find a hat, so my dad got a little miniature football helmet. It was set there. It wasn't Arkansas, but it was kind of funny. And I actually was planning on going to Oregon until the day before I chose. So my brothers and a few other of my family members still thought I was going to Oregon, and then at the last minute I kind of switched it up, and I think it took some people off guard.
When did you realize that you were a role model? I mean, you're a young guy, and finding out that these kids, Jack Cunningham and Chase Merriweather and all these double amputee and amputee kids, and even wheelchair bound kids are here. You are the first amputee to get a Division I track and field scholarship. All of a sudden, when I see Jack, he knows every split you've ever run, right? He knows every quarter, every half, everything you've ever done. When did you realize that that was happening, and how did that impact you?
I don't know. It's kind of complicated. You know, throughout my whole life, and I'm sure that these other kids kind of experience this as well, you hear like the word inspiration thrown around pretty loosely. And a lot of times it's just like people are content with you showing up. And, you know, I was never happy with that. So that's one of the reasons that I pushed so hard to become competitive as an athlete on an able-bodied level, on the Paralympic side of things. Is just, I was tired of being called an inspiration when I felt I didn't have a reason to, you know?
Right.
And as I got better and I kind of started to find my place as an athlete and saw these things happening, it was less of, hey, I see myself as an inspiration, as a role model of these kids, but like, hey, I see myself in these kids and I see myself in that same position. And, you know, I didn't really have that person to look up to and say, hey, they're doing it, why can't I? So if I can be that for Jack and all these other kids, like, absolutely. But it's less about, you know, me and what I've done to inspire them, but more about just like hopefully making whatever path they're choosing, you know, easier and let them be able to, you know, open their wings and fly, man, because they're going to be a whole lot better than me. I'll tell you that.
So when you came a few years ago for the first time, the San Diego Triathlon Challenge, and yeah, again, growing up in Utah, you probably didn't see a lot of people who look like you.
Yeah.
But being there and seeing 100 kids and all of them missing limbs and wheelchairs, what was your reaction?
Man, it's life-changing. And it's like, we live in a real big world, and like 7 billion people is a lot of people. So, you know, you can get lost pretty quickly in like, hey, I'm the only one in this situation. I'm the only one feeling like this. And I think when you get put in a place with that many people all going through something and all going past that and chasing their dreams and being happy and living life, like, it puts a different perspective on life. And, you know, my girlfriend Tara came the first time. She's come the other times we've went. And, you know, even for somebody who is able-bodied, like, it still changes the perspective, because it's like, man, there's other people that are in a worse situation than you, and they're doing everything they can to live their best life. They're having fun. They're enjoying life. And it's like, if they're not complaining about the situation you're in, like, what reason do we have to complain about, you know, anything going on in life, any of these small problems?
So last week we had our Heroes of Sports celebration, and you were kind enough to shoot a little video of yourself, basically doing a call out to Chase and Jack, and hey, let's go for a run. You guys did a virtual run, and that thing caught fire. Went everywhere, and just went on a number of national shows. Were you surprised at that?
I mean, I can't be surprised. Those two guys I was running with are the real deal. So, no, it really didn't surprise me, but it was very, you know, exciting. It was very cool. I love when really good stories, really good things catch fire and you know, people get behind them. So I think it was amazing. And honestly, it couldn't be for a better reason. So, you know, the internet's a cool place, and it's part of the reason I love it, but, you know, it shows, and good stuff does well, you know, and I can appreciate that.
So talk a little bit about when you talk about the internet, you talk about social. I mean, you got what, 200,000 followers on your YouTube channel and 200,000 on Instagram. You've developed a real platform.
Mm-hmm.
With that, obviously you get a lot of nice comments, and I know you like the nice. Is there another side of that? Do you get some haters on there as well?
Oh, most definitely. Yeah. I mean, anytime anything has to do with running, and a lot of times I'll post a video that doesn't even, you know, touch on running or blades or anything like that. And like, all the time throughout the comments, there's going to be something mean. And TikTok, which is a new platform that's kind of, you know, blown up, and that's actually now one of my biggest platforms. You know, I've had videos in the tens of millions of views, and you know, Tara and other people can vouch for it. Like, I won't even go and look in the comments, because, you know, I know if I do, like, there's just a lot of stuff that I don't need in my life. You know, I don't need that negativity. So, you know, as hard as it can be, sometimes it's best to just kind of ignore it and let it run its course, and then, just believe that what you're doing, the positivity you're spreading, is affecting someone in a positive way. And obviously not everyone, but.
Well, when you think positive, I don't think there's a more positive role model out there than, Ellen DeGeneres and her show, and you going on there and doing a little TikTok with her and getting a $20,000 check from Ellen. How special was that?
I mean, it's absolutely amazing. It's one of those things where, there's no way to explain it. There's no way to know like how it happened or what had to align to make it, go into place. But, I think that was just one of those things where it was the right place and the right time. And Ellen and her, team of people are the most genuine and kind people that I've probably ever worked with in that space. And I mean, just an amazing experience. Like, apart from everything else, something I'll never forget, without a doubt.
So you meet Tara at a track meet, and you guys have become inseparable basically ever since. Created your own channel. You guys are great role models for kids out there. What is it about Tara that makes her so special?
I mean, the biggest thing for me is just like you said, we met at a track meet, so this is something that we have in common, and it's hard to find people that follow the same path as you and have a lot of the same goals as you. And when you say like, hey, I got this crazy idea, I want to chase this, I want to pursue this, someone that's not going to be like, yeah, maybe it'll happen, but someone who's equally as excited for it. And I think Tara's that first person for me. We both come up with crazy ideas, but we both have a very similar vision. And I think that helps us to, roll in alignment and just, I don't know, do well together.
So when you go to your first Paralympics in 2016, what was that experience like? You come away with a bronze and a silver, but just the whole idea of that stage of being there with the greatest athletes on the planet.
Crazy. That was my second international track meet, world championships or Paralympics alike, but man, it was just crazy. And I think up until that point, I was kind of trying to, validate myself as an athlete and say like, yeah, I do belong here, because, like you said, I was new to the game. I was only 17 years old. So it was very intimidating for me, and just kind of trying to be able to, understand that I belong there and I can compete with these guys was a tough mental block to get over.
And just that getting the silver medal, being up on and getting a bronze as well, but just being on the podium, is there anything cool? And obviously when you're on the podium, you don't want to be looking up at anybody. I understand that, but at the same time, you're on the podium and you're a young kid with obviously so much in front of you.
Yeah. I mean, that was one of, my best moments in track, is my parents were actually up in the stand with my brothers and some of my extended family. So, being able to look up in the stands and share that moment with them, and then going in the bleachers after and sharing the medal and that whole experience with them was pretty special. But man, yeah, I mean, that whole entire meet was just a roller coaster of emotions and ups and downs. But yeah, it's just so special, all of it.
That's so cool. In terms of training apps, do you use anything? Do you use any technology for training, or is it just keeping a log? What do you do?
Yeah, for what we do, especially when we're in mid-season sprinting and stuff like that, there's not a lot of apps that can, accurately track like what we're doing, because it's very short and fast up.
Right.
But, more recently, since there's nothing to train for, a lot of it's just staying fit, keeping our base. I know we spoke about earlier about Strava. I've used that to kind of track runs and things, but, it's more just for educational purposes rather than, specific training, because it's just like, it's not really my event. So I don't really have a number or a mark that I'm trying to hit, on long distance runs or things like that.
So when you go running with Tara, who's faster?
We tried a few times. Yeah. She's getting the distance bone in her body back, but we're in the.
Who's faster? Jump in, Tara. Who's faster?
Definitely him. There's no way.
If it's less than about 50 meters, she might have me. We'll say that.
I'll stick to jumping and hurdling. We'll just say that.
So, Tara, before you go, so how does this affect you? Because I know you had a back issue.
Yeah,
Does this actually serve as maybe a positive that the Olympics are delayed a year to let your body get totally healthy?
Definitely. In January, I broke my ankle or my foot. So sitting out for 6 weeks and then going back in to try to train and compete, it just wasn't working out to the best of my ability. So when I found out we had this virus and everything was shutting down, it kind of like put me in a perspective that like I have so much time to heal. Like I'm healing. My body's finally healing and hasn't healed in a really long time.
Well, both of you guys stay on for this. We're doing a rapid fire. Okay. Best CAF memory.
The first San Diego event we ever had, and meeting you. So fun.
I'm gonna piggyback off that one.
That was so cool. Okay, most recent TV show. Oh wait, Hunter, yours.
I would say meeting our good friend, still currently Tessa. The boys have some catching up to do. She's a little cuter than them, so I'll leave it at that.
No question. Most recent TV show binge.
Ooh.
What was it?
Ozarks. The Ozarks, yeah. Watching.
Okay, favorite book or podcast?
My favorite podcast is probably Views with David Dobrik. That's what I listen to a lot.
You too, Tara? Okay. Person you miss seeing the most during this craziness?
My coach.
Yeah, my coach and teammates. It's been definitely a learning curve to get over. Not seeing them every day.
Every single day of our lives.
The camaraderie of it all. Yeah.
And Hunter, how did you deal with it when Tara was dealing with her back issues and the different injuries she's had? Right. I mean, you're a guy obviously who's dealt with the fact that you're missing your legs below the knee, but dealing with Tara's injuries. And just how did you guys deal with all that? It's hard when you're a couple and one's injured and one's having success. How did you guys balance that?
It's tough. Yeah, it's it's a lot of patience and a lot of just communication and getting through these things. And in the moment it can be very difficult. So being able to kind of look to the future and see what's coming is helpful. So I think it's helpful to have that person there to put that in perspective, because if you look back to our freshman year, it was flipped the opposite way. Like I was the one who wasn't competing and Tara was competing. So I think it's helpful that we've both been in that position and been able to kind of help get each other through it. But, it's tough. Being injured is never fun.
Never fun, no. Place you can't wait to visit when this is all over?
We've been talking. We want to go somewhere tropical. It's probably either Fiji or Hawaii. We'll see, though.
Well, if the Ironman comes back, we might have to have you guys come over and watch that crazy event. You might dig that on the Big Island.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Would not argue that.
What words do you love to hear from a coach?
Good job.
Great job. Yeah. Doesn't come very often. So.
What words do you hate to hear from a coach?
Back on the line.
Yeah, on the line. 30 seconds.
30 seconds on the line.
That's a rough call.
For all of our athletes out there who are dealing with this, what message do you give them, or would you give them if you're speaking to them right now, on how to deal with what's going on?
I think we bring it full circle, just what we were talking about earlier. It's just like in the moment, yeah, it can be difficult. Milo's in here too, but
I love Milo.
I know it can be difficult to kind of understand what's going on, but you gotta realize that something's coming in the future. So rather than kind of sulk and be sad about what's going on and what's been canceled this year, try to be optimistic and make sure that the things you're doing, the choices you're making, are going to benefit you in the long run, which is Tokyo 2021. That's
all that matters. Tara, what makes this guy special?
Oh, goodness. I never answer this question.
Goodness.
Don't put me on the spot like this.
I love it. Hey, thanks you guys for taking so much time. Always a pleasure to catch up. You guys look great. We love Milo, by the way.
Yeah, he's a cuddler.
He's a handful.
And now that it's over, he's decided he doesn't need the limelight anymore.
The camera's going away. He doesn't care. Again, This is Challenge Athletes Live. Tara Davis, Hunter Woodhall have been our guests. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. You guys are the best. Thanks for taking time.
Thank you for having us.